What if the universe was never asking you to choose, but only to remember the wholeness that you already are? This is where our conversation begins, because maybe, without realizing it, you've been carrying the subtle weight of separation, the belief that life only allows you to hold one blessing at a time, money or love, health or peace, as if your existence could be split into compartments and you had to decide which part of you deserves to live now and which part must wait. That belief is exhausting, isn't it? You've tried to manifest one thing at a time, only to feel as though progress in one area means loss in another. A heart that finally finds love, but still feels financial stress. A body that heals, but still longs for companionship. A wallet that fills while the soul feels empty. And deep inside, a whisper says, "Why can't it all come together?" You're not wrong for asking this. You're not failing because your life still feels fragmented. You've only been following an inherited idea, that the universe struggles to keep up with you, that your desires must stand in line like strangers waiting for permission. But Neville Goddard revealed something that changes everything. I am is not divided. Consciousness is not separate compartments. It is one living field. And when you step into the core of who you truly are, you don't have to chase desires one by one. They move toward you as parts of the same song. Think of a symphony. The music does not wait for one instrument to finish before another begins. Harmony is the beauty of many sounds rising together, guided by one unseen conductor. In the same way, your true state, the I am within you, is the conductor that unites money, love, health, purpose all into one flowing melody. Modern science is catching up to this truth. Joe Dispenza shows us that when the brain and heart move into coherence, they generate a powerful electromagnetic field. This field doesn't select one outcome while ignoring the rest. It broadcasts wholeness, and wholeness naturally organizes many manifestations at once. It's like a magnet that doesn't choose only one piece of metal, but pulls everything that belongs to its frequency. The same principle applies to your life. When you live from divided states, hope here, fear there, you scatter your signal. But when you embody one unified state, life rearranges itself around you with remarkable intelligence. Maybe right now you feel the ache of almost healed, almost prosperous, almost free. That ache is not punishment. It's the invitation to return to unity, because you don't need to manifest three different desires. You need to embody one master state that already contains them. A state where money flows because you feel worthy. A state where love surrounds you because you've assumed I am chosen. A state where your body thrives because your energy is whole. You don't chase these things. You radiate them. And in the minutes ahead, we will walk through the step-by-step process that reveals how. So as you listen, soften your breath. Allow your shoulders to drop. Let the mind's constant pressure dissolve for a moment. You are not here to struggle for answers. You are here to remember that you are not waiting for life to decide when it's your turn. The truth is simpler, more powerful, more intimate. You are the one state from which everything flows. And the moment you claim that state, everything you've been trying to manifest separately begins to arrive together, like rivers flowing into one vast, unstoppable ocean. There is an invisible belief many carry, that to want too much is to ask for trouble. You may have felt it yourself, that hesitation to dream beyond one area of life, fearing that asking for money and love and health together might somehow confuse the universe or make you appear greedy. This quiet fear becomes a cage. It whispers that you must choose carefully, that the universe is limited, that if you reach too far you risk losing what you already hold. And yet, every time you shrink your desire, a deeper part of you knows it is not truth, because your essence has never been small and your soul has never been divided. Neville Goddard taught that desire itself is a gift from the I am, a signal that what you seek already exists within your consciousness. The illusion is not that you have many desires. The illusion is believing that they compete with each other. To the divided mind, wanting both wealth and peace feels contradictory. To the unified heart, they are born of the same soil. Think of a garden. When the ground is fertile, it does not choose to grow only roses while refusing lilies. It produces many blossoms at once, each distinct, yet all nurtured by the same earth. Your consciousness is that soil. Every desire you carry can flourish from it, not one at a time, but together in harmony. And yet scarcity whispers another story. If you ask for too much, nothing will come. If you desire more than one thing, you will overwhelm the universe. But is that really true? Consider your own body for a moment. It does not choose to heal your heart one day and your lungs the next. With every breath, every beat, life supports countless processes at once. The intelligence that animates your being does not ration its generosity. So why would the same intelligence which animates the entire universe suddenly struggle when you desire both love and prosperity, both health and joy? It is not the universe that struggles. It is only the mind, bound by the illusion of limitation. Perhaps you have felt this illusion in your own journey. That sinking thought, maybe I should focus on money first, and only later on love. Maybe I should fix my health before daring to ask for purpose. And yet notice how that approach has often left you with an endless list, one that never feels complete. The truth is simpler. It is not the number of desires that matters. It is the unity of the state from which you claim them. When you remember who you are, all desires become natural expressions of one being. Just as light shines without choosing which corner of the room to bless, your consciousness radiates fulfillment across every aspect of your life when you stop believing in separation. So breathe into this realization. There is no scarcity in desire. The only scarcity is in the thought that says you must ration your worth, your joy, your wholeness. That thought has no true power. You are not meant to divide your blessings into compartments. You are meant to step into the awareness that all of them are already included in your essence. And from this essence, nothing is ever too much, and nothing is ever denied. Perhaps without realizing it, you have approached manifestation as if the universe were a catalogue. You make a list: more money, better health, a loving partner, peace of mind. And then you wait, checking off each item as though fulfillment arrives in separate packages delivered at different times. But this way of thinking quietly keeps you in the role of a customer rather than the source. It creates distance between you and what you desire, as if your life were always pending, always waiting to be processed. And in that waiting, frustration grows, because the heart was never designed to live fragmented like this. Neville Goddard pointed us back to a deeper truth. Manifestation is not about gathering objects one by one, but about assuming the identity that already contains them all. If you wear the crown, you do not need to request each jewel individually. They belong to you because of the state you embody. In the same way, when you step into the awareness of your true self-image, you no longer chase experiences as if they were separate. They flow from you naturally because they are already part of who you have assumed yourself to be. Think of it this way. When you put on a warm coat in winter, you do not need to request warmth for each finger, each arm, each breath. The coat covers you entirely. The state you occupy works the same way. When you enter the state of I am thriving, you do not need to demand wealth, health, and love individually. They are included, like warmth, in the garment you have chosen to wear. But the mind, conditioned by scarcity, often insists on lists. It whispers, first let me fix my finances, then I'll ask for health, then love. And yet notice, this order never ends. Because once one box is checked, another appears, and the sense of lack quietly continues. The list never satisfies because it was built on the assumption that you are still incomplete. The shift happens when you stop treating life like a catalogue and begin living as the embodiment of a single unified identity. This is why so many who chase desire after desire end up tired, as though manifestation is hard work. The truth is simpler and lighter. You don't need to build a life through scattered orders. You need to remember that your life is already whole when you step into the state that carries it all. Just as a queen doesn't request her jewels separately, but knows they belong to her crown, you don't need to beg the universe for each desire. When you stand in the wholeness of who you are, everything arrives as one inheritance. Every desire carries its own vibration, a subtle frequency that resonates with your inner state. Wealth, love, health, peace, each has a tone like notes in a scale. Yet if you listen closely, you will notice that they all resolve into one root note, one foundation that holds them together. That root is not outside of you. It is the identity you assume, the I am that sets the tone for your entire life. Neville Goddard expressed this with clarity. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He was not telling you to imagine every detail of every desire, as if juggling countless tasks. He was pointing you toward the one master frequency, the state of consciousness from which all your desires are already natural. When you hold that state, the details arrange themselves. Just as a single seed grows roots, leaves, and fruit without your constant supervision, your assumption unfolds its own evidence. Modern neuroscience echoes this timeless truth. Joe Dispenza explains that when your brain and heart enter coherence, your body generates a unified electromagnetic field. This field is not fragmented, nor does it pick and choose which desire to manifest first. It broadcasts a singular signal, a frequency that the universe mirrors back through multiple channels of experience. It is the invisible order that organizes what you once thought of as separate outcomes. Imagine this. You walk into a room humming a single note. That note influences the entire space. It vibrates through the walls, stirs the air, even resonates in the bodies of those present. From one sound, countless effects. Your state works in the same way. One inner assumption radiates outward, and life reshapes itself in response. Money flows not because you forced it, but because abundance is natural to the identity you assumed. Love appears not because you begged for it, but because I am chosen is now the atmosphere you live in. Health strengthens not because you fought for it, but because wholeness has become your frequency. The question then is not how to manifest three things at once, but how to step into the one frequency that already contains them. And the answer lies in identity. Who are you when money, love, and health are already true? What does it feel like to be that self right now? When you answer not with words but with feeling, you have found the master frequency. And once you hold it, even for moments, the outer world has no choice but to follow. There is a silent pattern that drains the very power you are trying to gather, the scattering of your inner field. You may want wealth, but in the quiet corners of your mind, fear of loss still lingers. You may long for love, yet a hidden voice insists you are unworthy. You may affirm health while deep down you identify more with illness than vitality. These subtle contradictions act like tiny cracks in a vessel. No matter how much water is poured in, it never feels full. The leaks are invisible, but they are real. Neville Goddard explained that assumption must be whole. You cannot claim I am abundant while secretly believing that the abundance may be taken from you. You cannot embody I am loved while secretly imagining rejection at every turn. The outer world reflects not only your surface affirmations, but also the quiet undercurrents you have yet to face. When your state is divided, your manifestations appear delayed, inconsistent, or fragile because the energy feeding them is scattered. This is why many people live in the cycle of almost achieving financial stability, but a sudden bill arrives. Almost finding love, but the relationship slips away. Almost feeling well, but symptoms return. That almost is not proof that manifestation doesn't work. It is proof that energy has been leaking through contradiction. You are broadcasting multiple frequencies at once. Desire mixed with fear, longing mixed with doubt, and the field reflects the mixture. The breakthrough is to unify, not by forcing away the fear, but by dissolving it in a greater state. Imagine holding a small candle in the bright light of the sun. The flame does not need to be extinguished, it is simply absorbed by the greater radiance. In the same way, when you step into one master assumption, such as I am thriving in every area of my life, the contradictions lose their power. They no longer drain you because they cannot stand against the wholeness of that state. Energy leakage ends when you stop trying to manifest each desire separately and instead claim the one identity that dissolves all conflict. In that identity, money is safe because you know your worth. Love is secure because you know you are chosen. Health is steady because wholeness is already yours. No cracks remain, no hidden fears siphon your energy. All of you moves in one direction, and when all of you is unified, manifestation accelerates not by effort, but by inevitability. There is a clarity that comes when you realize you are not here to chase desires one by one, but to embody the single state that holds them all. To do this, you need a method that is simple enough to live by and powerful enough to reorganize your inner world. I call it the diamond state, because like a diamond, it is formed under pressure. It contains many facets, yet it shines as one. Begin by looking at your life as it is. What are the three desires that pulse most strongly within you? Perhaps it is financial ease, radiant health, and a relationship that feels safe and alive. Perhaps it is freedom in your career, peace in your mind, and love that supports your soul. Write them down, not as separate goals, but as expressions of one truth. The moment you see them on paper, notice that they are not isolated fragments. They are connected like branches of the same tree. Each points to a deeper root, your desire to live as your whole self. Then ask yourself, what state of being would naturally include all of these? If money were abundant, love secure, and health radiant, what would that feel like as a single identity? Would you feel free, worthy, at peace, chosen? The answer is your diamond state. It is the master assumption that dissolves fragmentation. It is not about imagining each outcome separately, but about stepping into the one self for whom all outcomes are already natural. From here, you create one imaginal act that symbolizes this diamond state. It does not need to be complex. Perhaps you see yourself at a long wooden table, surrounded by those you love, laughter in the air, the glow of health in your body, the ease of prosperity reflected in the setting. In that single scene, wealth, love, and health are not separate. They are woven together in one living image. You don't chase them, you witness them as already present. This is the scene that condenses your identity into a symbol, and like a diamond, you return to it often, not as a desperate grasp, but as a gentle reminder of who you are. Each time you step into that imaginal act, you polish the facets of your inner reality until its shine becomes undeniable. Soon the world cannot help but mirror it, not because you begged for each desire, but because you dared to claim the unified self that holds them all. Neville Goddard reminded us again and again, imagination creates reality. But for many, imagination is reduced to a narrow picture, a single scene repeated in the same way until it feels lifeless. You may close your eyes and see a bank account balance, or a single embrace, or a health report with good news. But these one-dimensional images often remain brittle, as if they lack the breath of life. True imagination is not a flat picture. It is a living world that contains layers, textures, and symbols that extend far beyond one isolated outcome. When you imagine only one outcome, you may unknowingly fall into linear thinking. First the money, then the love, then the health. This sequence mirrors the old belief in separation. But when you allow imagination to be multidimensional, a different kind of power emerges. You no longer see events one by one. You create symbolic acts that imply the wholeness of your life. In a single imaginal scene, you embody multiple outcomes without effort. Think of a sunrise. The sun does not rise for one house or one tree or one person waiting at the shore. With one movement, it illuminates homes, mountains, oceans, and fields. That is what imagination does when you let it expand beyond fragments. One image, alive with symbolism, becomes a container for abundance in many forms. A dinner table filled with laughter can imply health, wealth, and love all at once. The ring on your finger can imply commitment, prosperity, and stability in the same gesture. The smile you see in the mirror can imply peace of mind, vitality in the body, and confidence in your path. Multidimensional imagination does not require more effort. It requires a willingness to feel more deeply, to let the image breathe, to let the scene be textured, to allow it to carry the fragrance of completion. When you imagine like this, you no longer need to repeat endless lists of outcomes. You return instead to one scene that nourishes all desires, just as one sunrise nourishes the world. So let your imagination rise above the flatness of single outcomes. Let it open into a dimension where symbols speak louder than words, where one inner act can hold the fullness of your destiny. For in truth, it is not the number of scenes that matters, but the depth of the state you embody. And when your imagination reflects the wholeness of who you are, life cannot help but echo that wholeness back to you. Imagination by itself can remain a fleeting picture if it is not joined by feeling. Desire without emotional substance collapses like a building without a foundation. The heart must give weight to the vision, or else the mind treats it as fantasy. But here lies the subtle truth. The glue that binds multiple desires into one living reality is not excitement, not intensity, not an exaggerated burst of joy. It is the quiet naturalness of identity, the feeling that this is who I am. Consider the difference. When you force excitement, you create tension. You chase a high that cannot be sustained. But when you step into naturalness, there is no effort. You are no longer trying to believe. you are simply being. The moment you feel, even briefly, that the state is yours, the body relaxes. The nervous system accepts it. The mind stops arguing. And that acceptance becomes the fertile ground where manifestations take root. There are countless stories of people who changed their lives, not by straining to be positive, but by shifting into the natural state of a new self-image. One person decided, quietly, that I am chosen. That single assumption was enough to reorganize their reality. Without trying to manifest separately, they found a loving partner, a new job, and friendships that uplifted them. Why? Because all of these outcomes were natural expressions of the chosen state. They didn't need to chase them. They flowed as one movement, held together by the glue of identity. The emotional glue is the feeling of inevitability. It is the inner sense that says, of course this belongs to me, of course this is who I am. There is no begging in this feeling, no bargaining, no endless repetition. It is quiet, stable, and unshakable. It is the same way you never question whether your name belongs to you. You don't rehearse it. You don't prove it. You simply know. When your desires rest on this kind of emotional glue, they stop floating as fragile wishes. They condense into reality, drawn together by the naturalness of your new state. And because this glue is identity, it does not weaken when one area seems delayed. It continues to hold all outcomes in harmony until the outer world can no longer resist. That is the secret of multiplicity, not excitement, but naturalness. Not striving, but being. Your mind may believe it has accepted a new reality, but if your nervous system does not feel safe within it, the manifestation cannot stabilize. This is why so many begin to imagine abundance or love, only to feel sudden waves of panic, doubt, or disbelief. It is not that the desire is too great. It is that the body still carries the memory of lack, the memory of waiting, the memory of being unsafe. The nervous system, designed to protect you, can mistake expansion for danger. And when that happens, it resists the very blessings you are calling in. Neuroscience reveals how deeply this mechanism shapes our experience. Dopamine regulates focus, drawing your attention to what feels rewarding. Oxytocin fosters trust, teaching the body to believe in new realities. Coherence between the brain and heart creates stability, broadcasting a consistent signal into the field around you. But when fear dominates, dopamine drives you towards survival instead of expansion. When mistrust lingers, oxytocin is low and love feels unreachable. When stress rules, coherence breaks and your signal scatters. This is why nervous system regulation is central to simultaneous manifestation. When your body feels safe, it stops clinging to the old self. It relaxes into the new identity, allowing multiple desires to unfold at once without panic or sabotage. Imagine holding 3 candles in your hand. If your grip is tense, one slips, then another, until none remain steady. But if your hand is calm and open, you can carry them all with ease. The nervous system is that hand. When calm, it supports multiplicity effortlessly. Simple practices can bring this safety into your daily life. Conscious breathing, for example, restores coherence between heart and brain. With every slow inhale, your body tells the mind, I am safe. With every exhale, resistance softens. Over time, this becomes a stable platform from which your desires can emerge together. Instead of overwhelming the system with scattered signals, you create one unified field where wealth, health, and love feel not only possible but secure. When your nervous system rests in safety, you no longer sabotage manifestations by grasping, fearing, or doubting. You allow. And in that allowing, multiple realities converge into one, not because you forced them into being, but because your body, your mind, and your spirit finally agree on a single truth. It is safe to be whole. There is a subtle habit that quietly interrupts the flow of simultaneous manifestation, the attempt to micromanage every desire. You may feel it when you begin to imagine money and immediately wonder how it will arrive, or when you long for love but find yourself calculating every possible path it could take. This over-control scatters energy. It places you back in the role of the problem solver rather than the one who lives in the end. Instead of dwelling in the wholeness of your identity, you dissect your desires into separate tasks, each demanding constant supervision. Neville Goddard pointed to the opposite approach. He taught that the how is never yours to arrange. Your only task is to assume the identity. the state of the wish fulfilled. Once this state is embodied, the details organize themselves with a wisdom greater than your conscious mind. Think of your own body for a moment. You do not command each heartbeat, regulate each breath consciously, or manage every cell repairing itself. Life intelligence orchestrates it all without your interference. In the same way, the intelligence of your assumed state knows how to bring money, love, health, and peace into alignment. The attempt to control each desire separately is rooted in doubt. It is a quiet suspicion that if you don't push, nothing will move. But the very act of pushing reveals you have not yet claimed the identity where all desires are already natural. Imagine planting seeds and then digging them up every day to see if they are growing. You don't trust the soil, so you interfere with the process. And in doing so, you slow what would have unfolded on its own. Over-control is the language of scarcity. It tells you that outcomes are fragile, that without constant monitoring they will vanish. But identity speaks a different language. When you step into the state of I am thriving, there is no need to manage the details. The thriving self already includes money flowing, love present, health radiant. These are not separate projects. They are natural effects of the one state. So the shift is this. Release the need to manage each desire as though it were isolated. Trust the organizing power of the state you embody. Just as the sun does not individually decide which leaf to nourish, but shines upon all at once, your identity radiates in every direction, feeding outcomes you cannot yet see. And when you stop interfering, the invisible order of life moves with speed and grace, delivering results far beyond what your planning could ever arrange. The true measure of manifestation is not what happens in rare moments of meditation, but how you carry yourself in the ordinary rhythm of each day. It is easy to feel whole for a few minutes in silence, but the art is to weave that wholeness into morning routines, into work conversations, into the quiet moments before sleep. Living the unified state means allowing it to breathe through the details of life until it no longer feels like a practice. It feels like who you are. When you open your eyes in the morning, let a single phrase guide you. I am thriving in all directions. This phrase is not a request. It is not a hope. It is a remembrance. It sets the tone for the day like a tuning fork, aligning every desire into one frequency. And as you move through your hours, doubts will arise. Old thoughts will surface, insisting that you are still waiting, still lacking. This is where the power of inner conversation begins. Instead of fighting the doubt, you redirect it. You let the voice of your new identity speak louder. I am already whole. I am already chosen. I am already living as the one who has. Throughout the day, you may notice the pull of the old self, trying to fragment your attention. Money here, love there, health in another corner. But each time you feel the pull, you gently return to the unified state. You do not need to correct every thought. You only need to stand in the atmosphere of the identity that already includes it all. In time, this state becomes so natural that the doubts lose their power, like shadows in the presence of steady light. And when night comes, you enter sleep, not as the one still waiting, but as the one already fulfilled. Neville called sleep the doorway to creation, the fertile ground where your assumptions take root. To fall asleep in the master state is to hand the universe your completed design. It is to let the subconscious mind carry the vibration of unity through the silent hours, preparing the outer world to reflect it back. Living the unified state is not about constant effort. It is about constancy of being. Like the sun, you do not shine on one tree at a time, measuring how much light each receives. You shine on the entire forest without thought or effort. In the same way, your identity radiates in all directions. It blesses your health, your wealth, your love, your peace without separation. And when you live like this, daily life ceases to feel like a struggle for fragments. It becomes a natural expression of wholeness, an unbroken song that plays in every moment. Life was never asking you to choose between money, love, or health. It was asking you to remember your wholeness. Neville taught that all desires are rivers flowing into the ocean of your assumed state. Joe Dispenza shows us that coherence creates one field where multiple outcomes emerge at once. Fragmentation keeps you waiting. Unity accelerates everything. Be like the heart. With one beat, it nourishes every organ. With one assumption, your I am fulfills every desire. Stand in the center, embody your unified state, and watch life rearrange itself around you. One state, infinite results, already yours.